Hello and welcome to the next episode of What Happens in Marketing, where we pull back the curtain and tell you the story behind the storytellers. I'm Tom Heaton, president of the Las Vegas Innovation Marketing Association, and I'm excited because today we've got a topic that is very near and dear to all of us. We get the opportunity to talk about, us. And we're going to be discussing the great work that's been done over the last 6 months for our members that have seen the rebrand and everything that has gone into building out this new brand for LVIMA. You're going to get to hear the stories behind how that all came to be. So with that, I'm very excited to welcome a good friend and our guest today, Mr. Ben Laifsky, the CEO of Hunter Marketing Group. He is a regular at a lot of events around the community here. He is really a linchpin for the Las Vegas community, both in the marketing, advertising, and even the tech spaces here in Las Vegas. You've probably seen his work through Network Vegas, Create Vegas, Tech Vegas, and whether you knew it or not, you've pretty much looked at one of his sites. I'd almost be willing to guarantee it because they do a lot of work for a lot of our great marketing associations around here. So please welcome with me Ben Laifsky to the show.
Thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure to join you today.
Absolutely. I'm excited about it. And you've done a lot of great work for LVIMA over the years. And as we think back on it, how this whole rebrand came to be, one of the big things about it is just, history in general. We're coming up on what next year will be our 20-year anniversary for LVIMA. And for those of you who were lucky enough to welcome our new brand with us in the December event, you saw a really cool little snippet of our brand over the years. And so I'd start with that, Ben. Walk us through from when LVIMA was basically just 5 letters and, some ideas, and to where we are now.
Well, when LVIMA started, it was a very informal, very, very social organization. And it was an earlier time in the industry, and things were moving fast, to say the least. At the time, we didn't have a well-designed brand. We had a series of different graphics that were used, and the organization settled on the Las Vegas sign as the basis of its branding, as a lot of organizations do in Las Vegas. And we kind of had this, for years, we had this very monochromatic light blue Las Vegas sign with LVIMA on it. And then the first version that we were a part of, we came along and introduced a little bit more color, so we got to blue and gold. And after a number of years, it really felt to the entire team like it was time to really rethink this, to kind of put together some new graphics, to go back to our roots and decide how we want to be represented both in our messaging and visually. And that was the genesis of this project.
Yeah, I remember some of those early conversations very clearly as we were talking as an executive board and getting feedback from others of, where do we want to be? What do we want to represent? We're coming into what will be, the start of our 3rd decade here. And what do we want the folks that are going to be part of LVIMA to feel about the brand and the organization in 10 years? Where do we want to go from here? And how do we help build this foundation that's going to enable us to take that next leap, just as the marketing industry that we serve is taking these leaps? How do we do that as well? And I remember you and your team got to work right away with coming up with some concepts. And it wasn't just like a, hey, let's focus on LVIMA and how, this is, a marketing organization. There was also a lot of thought and creativity that went into bringing in the historical elements of it, down to the colors, down to, the city and other ways that we could draw in all facets of what makes LVIMA LVIMA. I'd love to hear the thought process that you were able to direct your team on and how we got to that initial starting point.
Well, to start, we did a very, very exhaustive survey of Las Vegas logos over the decades. I went down a particular rabbit hole with the Stardust, which has an awful lot of fun material over their years. I was virtually going through the neon graveyard looking at ideas. We also looked at some of the newer brands that have been developed around town that kind of draw from that well of tradition and sort of retro Las Vegas feel. We looked at the fonts that are in use today and were in use back then. We looked at the colors that others are kind of drawing from. One of the goals that we had, or that I really felt strongly about, is I wanted to see more color in our brand, more energy. And I think we all kind of came together and settled on the color pink as a new accent color that would really help it pop and bring some energy that also calls back to Vegas. Um, we looked at symbols for many years. The Las Vegas sign, we've had that star that you see in many classic brands, and we didn't want to lose that. We also looked at other marketing associations around the country. We have a lot of sister organizations in the internet marketing associations around the country that do wonderful work. So we kind of looked at what they were doing. And then we came together as a team and had discussions. We produced a lot of iterations with different concepts, and we kind of picked and chose from what we liked of all of those. And I remember one memorable meeting sitting at a lunch table where it was actually you that drew up the letter V as the symbol, and then we have to have that star. We have to keep we have to have that star. It's such an important callback to not only our own brands, but so many classic Vegas brands. And then we went from there and went through a few versions over a few months.
Slightly.
Yeah, just a little hobby we had for a few months there. And, we looked at how many, Tom, how many fonts did we look at? How many variations of these colors did we look at in the process?
Oh man, I mean, we probably considered at least 20 different fonts that we were making people dance back and forth with, and I mean, I remember back to that luncheon that I felt like we were really doing it right by scribbling it on a cocktail napkin, which it's someplace, it's got to be around here somewhere. That we'll frame that and put that up someplace.
Well, future generations will celebrate that napkin, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it felt like a real callback to old school Vegas here, of getting the deal done on the napkin, and being able to sketch that out. But then your team took it and turned that into the concept that I'd say we did a great job of incorporating the star in there too. But there's other elements. I mean, even the bar that goes through the V, and how we went through probably 5 or 6 iterations of what that could be before settling on something that was clean, simple, and had that callback to the neon. The original kind of like Stardust feel about it. And there was a lot of great concepts that we all were passionate about which direction we needed to go. And I think ultimately it was great to see the collaboration between everybody to say, okay, this is why we want to have these elements. And we were able to really settle in on the why being the important piece that drove the brand forward. And then your team took it, and I guess I never really thought that we would be sitting there considering why we want a sans serif font in the body of the emails. But little things like that, I think, helped us to recognize what all elements of the brand could look like, and really what do we want our members to feel when they interact with the brand. I think that's a good lesson for all of us. It was a great way for us to take a hobby, as you say, and be able to turn that into something that will have history for us down the line.
Yeah, and to be honest, LVIMA had never gone through a brand exercise of this type before. It started as some graphics that were done rather quickly, and those were just evolved over the years. And while it was attractive what we had before, it's nothing like what we have now. And the process allowed us to go back and have those conversations about what we want to be, what we want to mean to people, and how we want to visually represent that. And that's what felt really rewarding about the process, because it was not just 1 or 2 parties that drove the whole thing and came back and delivered something. It was really a group working together. And it's a group of us that, with you and Brandy and Court, have worked together for years.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to see how all that collaboration and then, as you mentioned, research came into it. And so, I'll say right off the bat, I remember when I first looked at it with the colors and everything like that, I was like, well, why did we change the colors? And we didn't. That was, I guess the surprising part to me is that we didn't change the blue and the gold necessarily. Those were the callbacks to the original, I guess, blue and gold, bringing those over, and then the pink was the new element
No,
that we brought in.
they are slightly different, but they're pretty
Oh, okay.
close. They're pretty
Yeah.
close.
So there we go. Yeah. So, but the pink, if I'm remembering right, wasn't that research done that is the pink, the same pink that the city of Las Vegas is using?
I believe so. Yes, we looked at
Yep.
so many. I'm
Yep. Again, this is all part of the process of just kind of going back and forth and understanding, what elements were there. I think, yeah, you're right. When we first did it, the colors were the same, and then we incorporated that pink and realized, yeah, we want to be able to have some level of call to it, where that pink is the same as the Vegas signs that they're using for the city of Las Vegas, and so we were able to incorporate that. And then at that point, we realized, okay, well, yeah, we need to probably tweak this just a little bit for our brand. So it's the same, blue and gold. Whereas I think we at one point didn't we kick around some ideas of either going to like a purple or a few other, like I think we had a teal in there
we
one
looked at
time.
we looked at every shade of blue, almost to a greenish tint. We looked at a bright yellow. We looked at deeper golds. We looked at pink all the way down to purple. So we spent a lot of time with our color wheels on this one.
Yes, absolutely. I felt privileged to be able to bring my talents there on the experience with the color side of
But
things.
as you pointed out, we were able to fit in little call outs, the little line in the middle of the V, similar to some classic Vegas logos that have a call out to neon. So there's little things hidden in there that meant something to us as we were putting it together.
Yeah, and ultimately, one of the big pieces that brings it all together that we agreed on is having that symbol. The V with the star has really become something that we've been able to utilize in a lot of our branding efforts, a lot of the newsletters, and we've even got people wearing pins with the V and the star on it. That's going to be something we're going to be able to use for a long time. Felt like that was an important piece as we looked around and saw what the rest of the market is doing, with Vegas having, or Golden Knights having their V that
Mm-hmm.
they're using, other teams having some level of a V Vegas type call out, to have that ability to say, yes, we are a part of Vegas, and this has been an important part of our history too. I think it's great to be able to create that symbol that we're now able to take forward into the future.
Yeah, the joke I keep making is that our market research indicated the letter V was in the word Vegas and LVIMA. So,
It was an important correlation that we were able to finally deduce.
but with a long name like Las Vegas Innovation Marketing Association, we needed an identifiable symbol.
Yep.
We needed something that everybody would recognize, and that has become the perfect answer for us.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember. I mean, there was even parts of that discussion where, I'll admit I was the one that brought up the
Mm-hmm.
idea of, do we need to change the LVIMA name, partially from some of the sales calls I get from around the country trying to sell the LVIMA, or some of the other crazy ways that we've heard it pronounced.
The domain names.
You're right, yeah, and everything else that comes along with, they're trying to say LVIMA, but they just quite don't know how. So, thought, okay, are there other ways that we could be approaching it? Like you mentioned, some of our partners, SF Big, Think LA, places like that. I think ultimately the consensus with the group was, we are a part of a historical group that has brought this organization through a lot of turbulent times here in Vegas, and to ditch the LVIMA name would be to really be throwing off the history that we
I
have.
honestly
And so
found
it's
myself
important.
reacting almost a little emotionally. I have a sentimental attachment. My partner Autumn Hood and I got involved with LVIMA in '07, '08, and we were just attendees at the time until they figured out that we were going to keep showing up and they put us to work. Um, but been with LVIMA for about 10 years now in a board capacity. And this is the fourth version of the website, the third version of the logo. Like it's been a lot of history for us. And even though it's important to have those conversations about what you want your brand to be and what does it mean, what serves you and your community best, we felt an attachment to that name. Um, and I hope we weren't too hard on you when you made the suggestion.
I survived. Don't you worry. That's one of those things. I think it was great to have the
Yeah.
discussion, and I think it's really important when you're having a brand discussion like this. We've got to have the ability to have a little bit of that dissent to be able to say, okay, what are the other views that we should be considering? And I think that's important for all of us as marketers to understand is where can you get that maybe opposing opinion so that you consider it, you can either find out, is it valid, is this something that we want to address, or is it something that ultimately, as we decided, we're going to stick true to our roots, and this is the direction we're going to go, whether people pronounce it right or wrong or whatever, and we're going to just keep moving forward because this is us.
Yep. It's important to ask all the
Great
questions,
stuff.
and if you don't look everywhere, you're not going to come up with the best answers.
Right. Well, and I think it ends up, we came out of it with a stronger brand because we all believe in the answer that we ended up agreeing to.
Agreed.
Yeah. Great stuff here. Well, Ben, I know we've got plenty more to talk about. I want to take a quick break here, and then we will come back and talk a little bit more about where we're going with the brand in the future. So stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm here with Ben Laifsky, our longtime LVIMA volunteer, executive board member, and CEO of Hunter Marketing Group. We've been talking a lot about the LVIMA brand and how it came to be through the collaboration of your team, the executive board, and a lot of different mind pieces that came in. And the brand is one thing. It's very important to have all those pieces with the brand kit and everything else along that. But what we've also learned and been discussing is the website is just as crucial of a piece of that to be able to ensure that that brand is truly represented. And it's not just a visual piece, but it's an interactive piece as well. How are people going to actually connect with the brand? And Ben, I think you and your team have done a tremendous job of getting us up to speed over the years and keeping the site where it needs to be. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on, as we get into the rebrand here, what does that mean for the website and where we are now?
Well, thank you, Tom. The website is the representation of all the different facets of LVIMA and how you can work with the organization. So I'm going to share my screen and kind of just walk through a couple things. So the site has quite a lot of features, and they reflect the needs of the organization and the ways that we serve our members. So in our opening, of course, we have an overview of how to join our very wonderful podcast, who we are, how to sponsor LVIMA. We share our events. Events are the lifeblood of the organization, so we have our calendar reflected prominently. We developed the latest as a section where we can swap things out and see what's the most recent content or things going on. We always give love to our sponsors. So our great sponsors are reflected in several ways across the site. And then we want to share with people, because we have a different membership rule base than most organizations. Most organizations are just you pay and you're a member. But in LVIMA, our entire organization is funded by our sponsors and by our associate members, who are basically salespeople within or outside the market. So we have,
Who we are very grateful for. Quick plug for all of our sponsors and
yes,
associate
thank
members.
you
Thank you
very much
for helping us.
for all that you do. But we have a set of business rules that require a little bit more work than most for that reason. So we have an outline of the business rules and how you can join based on who you are and what you do. Again, more love for our sponsors. We love and appreciate them. our call to action about sponsoring and letting people know more about that process and what's involved and what's included, a little history on the organization, and then a little fun call out that I believe Brandy came up with most of these, but established 2004, tons of events. How many attend? We've had over 10,000 attendees over the years and many beverages.
Right. Still an unverified number, but I believe we've added to it
I
recently.
think it's conservative, but I'm just gonna.
That's fair.
When we built the site, we have several different sections that try and make it easy for people to figure out how to work with LVIMA. So again, you can come here to the Get Involved section. You can scan through all of these. You don't have to read a lot, just kind of scan and look for what you're looking for. And we have our job board here. We have a call to action for volunteers because LVIMA is a full volunteer organization. And another shout out, if you want to get to know the Las Vegas marketing community, volunteering is a wonderful way to do that. We have people that want to maybe host us. We have wonderful venues across town. Become a speaker. And then, of course, get on our newsletter and really know what's going on in marketing in Las Vegas, or sponsor or join. So we've got those sections that really make it clear how you can interact with us and how you can become a part of LVIMA. Tom, did you want to add to that?
It's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that those are really the great little elements that we have there to be able to help ease people into finding what they're looking for. In a lot of cases, people are coming in through social posts and they're coming in specifically for events. A lot of cases, we've got somebody that's seen a post, whether our members send it out to them directly or they saw it through a LinkedIn or an Instagram, they're coming directly into the page. And we want to be able to bring people in there so that they can get what they need. The ability to RSVP for a great event, know a little bit more detail about what that event's going to bring to them, and how they're going to be able to interact with both our members and our brand, but then pull them in deeper into the brand and be able to give them that opportunity to find other ways to connect and familiarize themselves with what LVIMA can offer. And that's really going back to some of those main tenets, the three key tenets that we talked about for this year, being able to connect our members to each other. So get them the opportunity to see how they can join the LVIMA team, how they might be able to meet other members, educate them, show them what's new out there in the marketplace, whether it's through conversations like this that we're having with the podcast, through some of the great content that gets curated as part of our newsletter, or just some of the other ways that they can connect with our sponsors that are doing great work throughout the rest of the community in the tech world. And finally, all of this is bringing it together to inspire them too. And that's where this really clean design, the opportunity for them to come in and see who else is working with LVIMA and say, okay, hey, this is where I can get ideas. This is where I can find my tribe of like-minded marketers out there and come in and bounce the ideas off of them that are going to help move our organization and our community forward. So overall, I think it's a tremendous job of being able to get all of those pieces into one place. And we're going to continue to evolve it too. And I know there's some new features that we put on here, and there's some even newer stuff that we're going to continue to add down the line. If you want to show maybe even a little bit about some of our volunteers, I know the board page is new and it's got some fun little additions to it.
Take you through.
Go ahead and show off.
I'll take you through a couple more spots on the site. The board page, we wanted people to really get to know the people that are putting this together, making it happen. So we did some fun things. We made it give you some look at baby pictures. We've got some great. That guy is clearly destined for greatness. Yep.
Love the microphone.
And then we've asked some fun questions for each board member to answer. That's a blast. Couple other sections of the site I wanted to hit on. Our events section. LVIMA has always been an events-based organization. One of the things we've built for the organization is a place where ticketing occurs right in the site. So you can RSVP straight through the site and receive your tickets. A lot of other organizations, they work with multiple tools and third-party solutions. Sometimes you either have to leave your site or it's you have to go through some process that's maybe not as good of an experience. So we try and make it visual, easy, and all self-contained within the site when we put up our events. And
Absolutely. Yeah, I think breaking down those barriers to being a part of LVIMA is a key part for any brand. And we see that all over the place with a lot of the brands that we work with and a lot of our members work for. Anytime that you can eliminate a barrier between your end user and the product that they're looking to come and get, you're going to have a smoother experience. They're going to have a better experience. And they're going to come back for more. And that's really, it's a testament to the work that our team and the committee that you've been overseeing on the website side of things has helped to create this really smooth opportunity for people to come in. You know, once you sign in, I love it. I can go in there and just boom, RSVP right away. And it usually takes me under 30 seconds, which is not good to tell you since I'm usually one of the last ones to get my RSVP in. I always assume it's automatic, but yeah, that's one of those things that I can tell people, hey, I know that it will take you less than 2 minutes. Go in there, get your name on the spot for the event because otherwise it's going to sell out. And they can do so in such a quick amount of time that then hopefully they're able to spend a few more minutes, maybe go around and explore some of the rest of the
well,
stuff.
Tom, I wanted to hit one more area of the site. Our sponsors, which we call partners, are the lifeblood of the organization. They make everything possible. And we've built a solution. First of all, in every single way I can imagine, LVIMA shows more love to our sponsors than any organization I'm aware of. And one of the greatest things about the organization is how much we help connect people, and that goes especially for our sponsors. So for the site, we built an area with, we call them partner pages, and it's basically a social media profile for each sponsor right on our site. And we've got their banner, we've got all of their links, we have a profile of the sponsor, any videos that they want to feature, a full live Twitter feed, and then any of the sponsors' representatives who are going to be attending our events, we put them right on the site. So hopefully, if somebody's seen this profile, they're ready to walk up to that person and introduce themselves because they recognize our sponsors before the event even begins. So this is absolutely something
Absolutely.
that we have built for LVIMA that you just don't see with other associations and other providers.
Well, it's a great resource for our members too, to be able to say, "Hey, I'm new to LVIMA, but man, I've seen the Zeta logo all over the place, and I don't know exactly what they do. What the heck is Zeta?" Well, instead of having to go to an event and try to piece together what is Zeta, I've just come in here. I've just RSVP'd for an event. I see some of these partners. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, let's see. Okay, yeah, I've seen that guy around at one of the events before. Adam, okay, awesome. I know I'm going to be able to find him. Zeta does blank. Okay, cool. Now I know I'm going to be able to go and I can get some of my needs addressed by this company. All I have to do is go find this person, and it can help to really smooth out the event process. Because for a lot of us, the networking side of things, we're there. We want to be able to go in and have a goal of being able to get something valuable out of each one of these events. These partner pages allow you to be able to kind of line up your priorities and see which of the partners that you are hoping to connect with and get a better feel for are there and in what capacity you can go up and meet up with them so that it's not a guessing game. You don't have to go try to find 30 people at the event and figure out who's who. We really do a great job of helping to give everybody an easier process, and that has gone a long way to help
Yeah,
continue to
and to be
grow the
honest,
brand.
LVIMA is known for having great energy at our events, for being welcoming, for helping people to connect with others in the industry, and to foster education. So, in every way that we possibly can, including in some of these ways we've shown during the site, looking at the site, we've really tried to emphasize community, bringing people together.
Absolutely. And that's a great thing for us to continue to strive for as we go into the future, too. We know that there is a lot of opportunity for LVIMA to grow as we've been welcoming new members, new volunteers that are continually bringing new ideas in. And we've seen the Vegas market continue to grow with our new organizations that have come into town A lot of great growth on the sports side of things. There's going to continue to be more growth on the entertainment side of things. We have a lot of really cool events and a lot of really cool things that are going to be happening in Vegas in the next year. And that is just going to be a springboard for us as a community as we go into the future. So we know that there's going to be a lot more iterations of how this brand continues to grow, and feel really proud about the work that we've done. And I'll say thank you once again, Ben, your group, Autumn, Court, Brandy, everybody that has been a part of this rebranding process. It's been fantastic to see where we can go and look forward to seeing what we can do in the future as LVIMA. So, Ben, I'll ask you any closing remarks as we talk about the future.
Just one or two. First, I just need to say it's been one of the privileges of my professional life to be associated with this organization. I have learned a tremendous amount. I've connected with amazing people, and it continues to be rewarding. And if there's anybody out there that hasn't had a chance to come to a LVIMA event, that wants to get connected with the marketing community in Las Vegas, there is no better way than coming to join and visit LVIMA.
Couldn't have said it better myself, and I won't try. So, Ben, thank you very much again to you and your team for everything that has transpired over not just the last 6 months, but over the last now, should we say 12 years since you've been volunteering with LVIMA, and we appreciate every part of it. So thank you for walking us through this brand. I think we've done a great job of highlighting how the brand came to be, how the hard work that went into it, and a lot of the serious discussion that shaped it into what it is, and then the work on the back end that helped represent the brand in that user experience format and how we intend to send things going forward. So I'll say thank you again for joining us here as a part of our next episode of What Happens in Marketing. We look forward to seeing you all back here again as we continue to bring on great hosts, great guests, and continue to take the brand of LVIMA going into the future.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.